Backstory time. This is going to have a lot to do with my ex-employer, so just bear with me on that. I'm not talking trash. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're great people, actually. But sometimes people just don't get along. It was kind of a mutual, I left, they fired me type thing. It's just the way everything happened. But we'll get into that. Let's go all the way back before I even started this company. Or before I even started with this company as well. I was in between jobs. I'd already done a few towing jobs. So I knew what I was doing. And I knew where I wanted to start. I wanted to start at the very bottom, doing nothing but roadside assistance. I have a personal vehicle. Didn't have a Google page at the time, so I made. Well, over the course of 3 months, I could not get my Google page verified. Don't know what it was. I kept getting the error message that I was going against company guidelines or Google's guidelines, and I've read over the guidelines multiple times and then even proofread one more time. And I kept disputing it and telling them, like, hey, tell me what I'm going against guidelines. Please have a real person look into this. I'm not going against guidelines. I'm literally just a business. The form is not going to be at my home. It's all mobile, and I know they allow that because they kind of have to, especially in the towing industry. It's always mobile. So I didn't advertise on Facebook or anything. I want my Google page to take off first. It never did. I ended up going with this company that's my ex-employer. 3 months into working for him, Google randomly just accepts it and sent me a vague message saying, we reviewed your listing and it has not been published. Didn't tell me what the delay was, why I was supposedly going against their guidelines, but they activated it. Well, I was already working with another towing company, so I didn't want to start my own roadside company then. So what I did was I changed the name to something accessories. Probably about a year in, maybe a little less, maybe a little longer. I know I've been with them for a while. We had a little bit of a falling out. Got a newer driver that, from what I was being told, he didn't want me in the truck. And that left me running 3 weeks at a time, making only $75 in that time span. Also using my own vehicle, my own gas. Once or twice did the company fill my tank up. But we did that for a couple months. I mean, I have a family at home that I'm supposed to be supporting. And bills that don't stop just because I don't get to pay, so I had to say something. I was like, look, I need truck time. Thinking that I was just getting jealous that he got to ride the autoloader, but that's not the case. I didn't care what kind of truck it was, I just needed truck time. So from what I was told, was the other driver was not having it, threatened to leave if I got to drive it, because I told them I need to know where we stood. If not, then I'm just going to go find something else, because $75 a week is not cutting it. Message me back and tell me they would rather lose me as an employee than the one that's available more. Mind you, I have a family at home. This industry is not very friendly to family time. I understand that, but I was stuck to a 12-hour shift, 8 to 8, and that was my set schedule. This other driver, he pretty much stayed at the lot. He had an RV and he ended up pulling that over there to the lot so he could stay in whenever he wanted to. He could work the flexibility because he had more opportunity than I did. Where I live, I can't have the tow truck that they had. I couldn't have that where I lived. Everyone else in the company could, so they could take the truck wherever, take a nap, go to sleep, wait for a run for a few hours, and then wake up and run out and go. I on the other hand, had to be in the truck my entire shift, away from home, and I didn't get family time like everyone else could. So that became an issue. So I left for that reason. because they pretty much told me that I was replaceable. My loyalty to the company wasn't appreciated, I guess. There was so many feelings in the mix that I couldn't even comprehend the fact that they would let somebody go that's been with them so long and has never done them wrong. They've never had to worry about where their money's going, where the fuel's going. Never had to worry about extra charges on the cards. So I was really stunned by that outcome. I changed my name back to a roadside name, and I started my initial plan, or my initial dream. I had a cheap little 1-ton jack that was given to me. I started doing tire changes. After about 2 or 3 tire changes, I was able to get a portable jump box, and then I was able to go up to jump starts. I gave it about another 2 weeks worth of money, and I went and got the lockout kit, and I think I was able to buy the lug sockets at that time. Yeah. So I got a better jack. Actually, I found that free on Marketplace. It's not a fancy one. It's only like a 1.5, 2-ton jack, but it does its purpose. I'd already switched over to pretty much all time efficient equipment. I've got the jump box, I have jump cables just in case, I've got the 4-way, I've got the lug sockets, I've got the impact drill for it. The entire time I was working with the other company, I was already investing money into my car, because my car was being used quite a bit. And I mean, it was a towing company, and sometimes we might need our cars on scene. You know, if there's a heavy scene, they need the extra hands. So I already had my car outfitted all the way out with amber lighting and white lighting, and then spent probably close to a year building it up the way I wanted it, and the way that it looked more official. It had roadside lettering on the side. Didn't have a company name because it was kind of like a general use vehicle. So the company called me back and asked me to come back for them. Actually, we'd met up one time for just to kind of talk about things, and they knew that I had my own company. They knew I had my own Facebook. They knew all this. So I told them, I was like, well, I mean, I gotta keep it going. That's what I'm comfortable with. I have a car built for it now, and that was my original goal, to start my own company. They asked me if I wanted to work still. I told them, yeah, I'm always down to work. I was there maybe, I'd say 2 months, maybe 3 months. I mean, there might have been a chance that I was there a little bit longer. But we was doing impounds, high intensity situation at an apartment complex, so I was already on the edge, and there was 2 of them, and they're asking when I'll be back, when I can get to the lot, drop off the impounds and come back. For some reason, when I lowered my wheel lift, the car went over the wheel lift. I'm not sure why. The wheels were inside my grids, so there's no reason why they should have done that. The only thing I can think of is maybe it shifted in transport somehow, or maybe they had, I don't know, but it did that, and it was stuck in such a way, and my wheel lift was out so far that I couldn't bring it out anymore to kick in my grids so I could flip it sideways and pull it out from under it. It was just stuck there, so I had to get the bar back underneath the wheels and then back in front of the car before I can get free of it. I fought with that for probably a good 15 minutes, and I was trying to update it, so I was like, look, this is what that time still was not being completely hateful. I mean, I was stressed, but I was still in the middle of making them know what's going on with the situation. Um, so then I still had to shake another car off my bed because we didn't have keys to it. So as I'm doing that, the other driver gets on the radio, asks me where I'm at, how long it's going to take me, and all this. At this point, I'm just completely ticked off just because of all the fighting I did. It probably took me 20, 30 minutes to unload 2 vehicles, which it should have only taken 10 minutes max. I told him I'll get there when I get there. I'm stressed out. Just leave me alone for now. Because I didn't want to do anything to cause a fight. I didn't want to say anything that would cause a fight, possibly. I just needed some time. The driver took that personally, I guess, and said, I won't help you with another thing. And then I guess he left the scene. So while I'm on scene, I almost get, it's like in the middle of fog and at a red light. Well, there's a car right there while I'm trying to load. I'm in between the bed and where the lane of traffic is, and there's not even a foot worth of room, really. These people floated past me, probably doing about 30, almost hit me with their car, and I barely somehow missed hitting their mirror. If I had something in my hand, I would have thrown it. If I wasn't paying attention, if I'd have taken even a half of a step back or bent over, they'd have hit me. It was that close. So I cussed them out. I yelled at them, and then I went to the other side to load it. And the owner came and talked to me because he was on the scene. Asked me what was going on, and I'm trying to tell him how stressed out I am and how I almost got hit. So of course, when I almost got hit, every other word in my vocabulary was a cuss word. I wasn't yelling at him. I wasn't cussing him out, even though it may have seemed that way. I was ticked off because I almost got hit. Alright, part 2, now that I'm loaded and ready to go. Yeah, it may have seemed like I was cussing him out. I wasn't. I was cussing in general. I was yelling because it was noisy out there. Not even yelling, I was just talking louder. So it could have probably been construed as me cussing him out, or yelling at him, or taking out on him. I wasn't. Well, they didn't tell me I got fired. I was off the following 2 days anyways, because it was my off days. I come back in, and as far as I know, everything's fine. It's a new day. So he gets there and he tells me he has no work for me because I don't get along with the other driver. And the other driver's in the truck mainly. And I wouldn't do impounds. I don't do private property impounds for the simple fact that, people don't like it when you're messing with their stuff at their home. So I've always done business impounds only, and that's so he took my walkie and all that. So he just fired me without telling me, pretty much, over the weekend. That's fine, whatever. Back to my company. I never shut my company down. Once I started it back up and once I got invested into it, I wasn't going to shut it back down. Even if I didn't give it the attention it needed, I wasn't going to shut it down. At that point, I'd already had a little bit over $4,000 into my company, and probably close to about another 3 into the car itself. He calls me again a few months later. Tells me that driver's no longer a part of his fleet, and he really wants me back. He's got another old driver that I get along with real well. He got him back as well. So I came back to work for him. And there was an exception of no impounds. From about 2 weeks of me getting on, he tried to get me to do impounds. I told him, I said, you know what, out of good faith, I will do my business impounds, but that's it. I'm not doing anything else. He still kept trying to get me to do it. Like, he'd have me ride with him to some apartments that he's in sticker for. He's like, look, these are just abandoned. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing it. A few months in, they keep on asking me why I'm just sitting, why ain't I going to look for work. And it's like, well, I'm not trying to waste your gas. And I'm not trying to be on one side of the city when a call comes in, it might be on this side of the city. So our lot, the way that our lot is, You know, you're driving 7 minutes each way to get to both of our major highways. So I was in ideal spot just to sit. So it'd get boring, but I still had to be out in it. I'd say after about 4 o'clock in the morning, if I didn't get any runs, I'd just go ahead and go home. Because there's no reason for me to sit for 12 hours if there ain't going to be no runs coming in. I'd say about 4 o'clock anyways, they were all laying down asleep, and I only had a limited chance to answer calls. But the nights I'd go home, the phones wasn't even ringing. Yeah, I know they can come back. It's like, oh, you're supposed to be in truck 12 to 12. It's like, yeah, well, I don't get the luxury as all the other drivers where they can take the truck home and they can spend time with their family, or they can catch up on their sleep till something comes in. If I had that luxury, it wouldn't be an issue. But so then they started getting onto the bandwagon of, well, you just don't want to work. And I guess they had forgotten that I had a company because, you know, I was still working towards it. I'm not going to stop my dream for another company, even though I do know how to keep personal and work life separate. And that was my entire plan. Everything was going to be separate. Like, they wasn't even going to know I was getting a truck. Like, me being a good friend, I was letting him know that I was looking for a truck. And he kept downing it. He kept on saying, you don't want a truck, you don't want a truck, you don't want a truck. So, of course, I would, because, I mean, it would have been great to have had him to help me look it over and, you know, decide on whether or not it would be a good truck, something that might last, something that'll make me a little bit of money. Well, really not even the money part, just last. Because I do like to buy a lot.